Okay, we're going to get started. Baltimore City Council Ways and Means Committee. I'm Eric Costello, Councilman from the 11th District, Chair of the committee, joined to my right by Council Vice President Sharon Green Middleton, 6th District member of the committee, Councilwoman Danny McCray, 2nd District member of the committee, and I believe that Councilman Robert Stokes, 12th District member of the committee, will be back momentarily. To my immediate right is Tony Leva, staff to the committee. We're joined by representatives from the mayor's office and the council president's office. We have 6 bills today. We're going to start with Council Bill 24-0575, City Streets, closing certain streets and alleys in the Poppleton urban renewal area. Let's start off with Department of Transportation. No objections?
No objection.
Thank you. Baltimore Development Corporation, favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Department of Planning, none as of this writing?
We are favorable. It's consistent with the PUD.
Thank you. Department of Housing and Community Development, favorable with amendments?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And those amendments, I assume, are amendments that Law has looked at? No? Well, okay, but Law Department just shook their head.
That's for 575?
575.
Yeah, these are the amendments that we just discussed.
Not for 575. I thought that was for is that what we looked at, Eric? Yes. Help me. Yes, they're fine.
Thank you. City Solicitor, approved with comments, so approved for form and legal sufficiency.
Yes, we approve the bill and the amendments for form and legal sufficiency.
Thank you. Why don't we DHCD, these are amendments that you guys are requesting. Can you talk us through these amendments?
We just felt that those particular closures were no longer needed for this particular legislation.
Sorry about that. Say that once more for me.
We just felt that the amendments were removing some of those streets and alleys from the closures because we just did not feel like they needed to be included in this legislation.
Got it. Okay. And this bill was sponsored by the City Council President on behalf of the administration. Mr. Schnella, you guys are good with these amendments?
Yes.
Excellent. Colleagues, any questions? Are there any members of the public present who wish to testify in this matter? Seeing that there are none. Colleagues, is there a motion to move? No, actually, we can't do that because we don't have a quorum. We'll come back for that in a little bit. Okay, we're going to go into recess on this one. We'll call it back once we have a quorum momentarily. Next bill, 24-0578, zoning conditional use conversion of a single family dwelling unit to 3 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district, 2732 Reisterstown Road. City Solicitor, approved for form and legal sufficiency.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and there was a notation that the variance isn't needed, so assuming the council agrees, you can approve the amendment to remove the variance from the bill.
Okay. Okay, we don't have an amendment to remove that.
I think that was in the Planning Commission report.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're approving the amendment for form and legal sufficiency as well.
Okay. BMZA defers to planning.
That's correct.
Planning Commission favorable.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and by way of background, this was reviewed by the Planning Commission. They're meeting on September 12th, and just by way of some history on this property, it had been previously approved for use as 3 dwelling units, and in our staff report, there's a record of past permit history attempting to remove that use, but it seems that they were either voided or went final, but were never issued. So as far as I can tell by the land use records, those permits to reduce the capacity to single-family dwelling were never actually finalized or approved. So it's last last authorized use should be 3 dwelling units. Notwithstanding any of that, just as cheap insurance, if this bill were to be approved, I believe it meets all the bulk requirements in zoning, with the exception of parking. But since it was last authorized for 3 units, nothing has changed. Therefore, I don't think that applies. And so therefore, I don't think it needs any variances whatsoever. But with that, the Planning Commission recommended favorable.
Okay, and so is planning recommending,
I don't think it'll do any harm to leave it. I just am noting that it's probably not necessary.
okay. And we do not have an amendment drafted up for that, right? I think the committee, I'm looking at my colleagues, is inclined to leave it as is unless there's a strong desire from either the sponsor, who is not present today, Councilman Torrance, or the administration to change it. Okay, excellent. Fire department, no objection?
Yes, sir.
Parking authority, favorable?
Yes.
Thank you. Department of Transportation, no objection?
No objection.
DHCD, favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
BDC, favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions for our agencies? Seeing that there are none, are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this matter? Seeing as there are none, we will now go into recess on this bill. Next up, Council Bill 24-0579, zoning, conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 2 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district. Variances, 523 North Calhoun Street. Law Department, approved for form and legal sufficiency.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I think this bill has the same issue as the last one you just discussed, that the parking variance may be unnecessary.
Okay. BMZA defers to planning.
Yes.
Planning Commission favorable.
We are favorable and concur with law. The property had been previously approved for use as 3 dwelling units, but it did have a vacant housing notice on it. Under our old zoning code, there was a provision that when it goes vacant, it administratively resets to single-family dwelling, but everything was remaining unchanged. So if it was prior approved for 3 and we're now approving it for 2, that's a reduction. And so I don't think that they need a parking variance, but again, would not be at all concerned if we leave it just for insurance purposes.
Okay, the sponsor, Bullock, absent. So I think the committee is inclined to leave it as is unless the administration has strong feelings on this, which it sounds like they do not. Fire department,
We don't have any objections to this bill, sir.
thank you. Parking authority favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Department of Transportation, no objection?
No objection.
BDC favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And DHCD favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Colleagues, any questions for our agencies? Are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this matter? Seeing that there are none. Colleagues, is there a motion to move Bill 24-0579? Motion by Middleton. Is there a second? Second by Stokes. Costello is a yes. McCray? Middleton? Stokes? Schleifer, Dorsey, and Burnett are absent. This bill passes 4-0 and moves to second reader at the next full meeting of the City Council. We will now go back to Council Bill 24-0578, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 3 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district, 2732 Reisterstown Road.
No, you go back to the.
I went back to the second one. That's right. Reisterstown Road, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Colleagues, is there a motion to move this bill favorably? Motion by Middleton, second by Stokes. Costello is a yes. McCray? Middleton? Stokes? Okay. Schleifer, Dorsey, and Burnett are absent. This bill passes 4-0, moves to second reader at the next full meeting of the City Council. We'll now go back to the first bill, 24-0575, city streets, closing certain streets and alleys in the Poppleton urban renewal area. Colleagues, Is there a motion to move the amendment which DHCD offered up and was approved for form and legal sufficiency by the law department? Motion to move the amendment by Stokes. Is there a second? Second by Middleton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Amendment passes unanimously. Colleagues, is there a motion to move the bill favorably as amended? Motion by Stokes, second by Middleton. Costello is a yes. McCray? Middleton? Stokes? Schleifer, Burnett, and Dorsey are absent. This bill passes 4-0, moves to the next full meeting of the City Council. Okay, on to bill number 4. 24-0581, rezoning 200 North Central Avenue. The bill was sponsored by Councilman Stokes. City Solicitor.
The law department approves.
Yep.
Law department approves.
Approves for form and legal sufficiency? Okay. They are.
Yeah, yes, we had a conversation about it.
Can you walk me through what the amendment is?
The amendment adds an additional property, which is, the address, 249 Asquith is added to this one. We have noticed several times, there is one notice adding the additional property that omitted it, but it appears to be a clerical error.
Okay. So there's no, we haven't run afoul of any posting requirements?
No.
Okay. And Mr. Tizo, can you speak to the inclusion of that property?
Sure. So I'm here for Caitlin Audette, who staffed this item, in looking at these properties that were previously the Sojourner Douglas College, which closed for business in 2015 prior to the comprehensive rezoning of the city. And we kind of left it at the time as EC2, which is appropriate for universities because they were looking to try and redevelop it. That ultimately failed to occur. So one property is coming through seeking this rezoning for redevelopment. So we recommended the inclusion of the other property since it's unlikely that a university would come back for half of that area. And we think that that would be most appropriate. So that's why Planning Commission recommended the addition of this property.
Thank you.
With the consent of the owner, I might add.
Excellent. And so Planning Commission's favorable with that amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. BMZA defers to planning.
Yes.
Parking Authority favorable.
Yes.
Department of Transportation, no objection.
No objection.
DHCD favorable.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
PDC favorable.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Colleagues, any questions for our agencies? Are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this matter? Ms. Prettle? Please make sure your mic is turned on, bottom right button.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you. Nate Prettle. I'm here on behalf of the owners of 200 North Central Avenue. This is would like to thank the committee and the esteemed councilman from the 12th District for his leadership in this. And I would urge the committee to adopt the findings of fact that were moved by the Planning Commission in support of this bill. And I'd also mention that we, the property owner at 200 North Central, is also in support of the amendment as well.
Thank you. We're not going to approve your findings of fact today. What we've been doing with those is approving those on second reader per conversations with the law department. So not that we have a problem with your findings of fact.
Yep.
So
Thank you for that clarification.
Those will be presented at second reader. Any other members of the public who wish to testify in this matter? Microphone, bottom right. No, on the, yep, red ring, you're good to go.
Hello, Brooke
And you
Hutchins.
can pull that down so you
Got
hear a
it.
little, yep.
Good morning, everyone. Brooke Hutchins, Rosenberg, Martin Greenberg. I'm here on behalf of the property owner of 249 Asquith Street. So if anyone has any questions.
And your client is in support of this, correct?
Yes, my client is in support.
Excellent, good to go. Colleagues, any questions? Okay, any other members of, Councilman Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want you to, I know everybody already know that Sojourner Douglas was been empty for a long time, and I'm glad we changed the zoning because you can't do no development without changing the zoning there in Astor Street. So I truly support both of the zoning changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members of the public who wish to testify in this matter? Seeing that there are none, colleagues, is there a motion to move the amendment? Motion by Stokes, second by Middleton. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Amendment passes unanimously. Colleagues, is there a motion to move the bill favorably as amended? Motion by Stokes, second by Middleton. Costello is a yes. McCray? Middleton? Stokes? Burnett, Dorsey, Schleifer absent. This bill passes 4-0, moves to the next full meeting of the City Council. Next bill, Council Bill 24-0572, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 3 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district. Variance is 1730 North Broadway. City Solicitor, favorable? Proof for form and legal sufficiency?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. BMZA defers to planning.
Yes.
Planning Commission, favorable.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Parking Authority, favorable.
Yes.
Thank you. Department of Transportation, no objection.
No objection.
BDC, favorable.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
DHCD, favorable.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Fire Department, favorable.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Colleagues, any questions for our agencies? Seeing that there are none, are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this matter? Please come on up. Mr. Chase?
Thank you. Chase Hoffberger here on behalf of the property owner. We'd like to thank Councilman Stokes for his stewardship of this legislation. It's a great project. It'll introduce new housing or active housing to a long vacant house on the 1700 block of North Broadway. It's the only vacant house on the block. So we think that it's a great public policy decision as well. So thank you. Any questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions? Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to testify on this matter? Seeing that there are none, is there a motion to move the bill favorably? Motion by Stokes, second by McCray. Costello is a yes. McCray? Middleton? Stokes? Dorsey, Schleifer, and Burnett are absent. This bill passes 4-0 and moves to the next full meeting of the City Council. Last bill, Council Bill 24-0549, conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 2 dwelling units in the RA zoning district. Variances 1002 West Landville Street. Fire Department.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. We in favor of this bill.
Thank you. You are excused for the day. Baltimore Development Corporation, favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You're excused. DHCD, favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Excused. Department of Transportation, no objection?
No objection.
Excused. Parking Authority, favorable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You guys are excused. Planning Commission, favorable?
Yes, sir.
We always have you guys stick around. Thanks, Mr. Tizo. BMCA defers to planning.
Yes.
Law Department, approved for form and legal sufficiency.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but I note that there is a possibility that an additional parking space could be provided, which would obviate the need for the variance.
Same issue as, okay. Mr. Tizo, does the administration feel one way or the other about this?
No, it could be added at their option to remove the need, but if and until they do, it's safer to leave it.
Outstanding. Sponsors not here, block, so we will proceed under the administration's guidance. Colleagues, any questions for our city agencies? Seeing that there are none, are there any members of the public who wish to testify on this matter? Seeing that there are none, is there a motion to move this bill favorably? Motion by Middleton, second by McCray. Costello, yes. McCray. Middleton. Stokes. Dorsey, Burnett, and Schleifer are absent. This bill passes 4-0, moves to the next full meeting of the City Council. We're now in recess. Thank you.